It's Tuesday the 18th of February 2014. It's 6 p.m. We are live on Anfield FM and we are live from the Sander offices. Just like to thank Lorraine for letting us use the office again. My guests this week are members of Spying Cop 1906. I've got Adam Kearns and I've got Ian Lewis. It's Ian's debut on Anfield FM. I'd like to thank him for coming in. Reason we've got Ian on the show today, he's a big Italian football fanatic, should we say. He's got a lot of interest in Serie A. So we'll just ask a few questions of why he has. Ian?
Thinking about it before, basically I suppose Channel 4, when it all started on there, watching it. I used to watch it with my granddad a lot. But I think a lot might have come from before. That was my dad going to Rome the 2 times, of course, and they were the only photos we ever had in the house. You know, the match, like, different thing then, wasn't it? Him in Rome and a load of mad gear and that, like, you know what I mean? It sort of got us into it. I used to say to him, what team do you like? And he'd say Lazio, because I think he got helped out with a bit of a sticky situation in 1984 by a Lazio fan. So I used to start watching it like that, and it was a Sunday afternoon thing. I used to watch it with my granddad, and I got into it from there. But I think what it was for me, as much as anything, it was the crowds, the flags. You know, the flags, the massive flags that you'd never see here, would you? You know what I mean? And that really got me interested in it then.
That's where your buzz started,
yeah.
Basically just the atmosphere side of it and that. As you know, when we went Liverpool, we're in the Champions League, and obviously we had a few good Italian ventures, and you've made some acquaintances with some Inter Milan fans who've been over to Anfield a few times, and you've been over there.
That's right, yeah. I didn't personally meet them myself when we played, and one of the lads, Joe bumped into them. I think it was the same sort of thing. They got helped. One of them helped him out with something that I don't know what it was exactly, but since then kept in touch, and they've been over there, we've been over there. We're going over in a couple of weeks actually for a match when we've got the opportunity to. So
obviously once Rafa left Liverpool, they took over into, obviously Rafa made the donation to the £96,000 to Hillsborough Family Support Group, and when he went over, he took a banner basically thanking Rafa for that, and so I think a lot of Liverpool fans appreciated that at the time.
It's right, yeah. I can't remember whether we intended to go to the game originally or not, because we were going to the Napoli game, or the flight just happened to fall anyway, but we got invited over, and the banner that was put at the front of the curve, I mean, they basically said you can have it, and I mean, whether people not know or not, that is a massive thing. That's never ever been done for anyone else. That it's, you know, the thing with them, the flags is everything, and the front of their end means everything to them. So for us to be allowed to do that was like a real special thing for them to do for us, right?
From their point of view, or just for the respect it showed for what Rafa had done, or just because it was used, and basically they got a respect for Liverpool fans in general?
All of it really, yeah. It's the fact that they respected us as a club. I mean, I know the times we've been to Italy, there's been a lot of trouble, hasn't it? Roma and everything like that, and I'm sure not everything was perfect when we played Inter, but on the whole I think it was pretty much a mutual respect. But then for them to, like, they recognised the Hillsborough side of it as well, and then for them to say, I mean, at first when they said we would be allowed to show a banner, I mean, just that would be enough as itself. But when it was put to us that it could go right across the front and it could stay there all night, and that, it was just quite a special thing, like.
I think as maybe Rafa don't know if he ever spoke about it or whatever, but pretty sure he was overwhelmed by it as well.
I remember, yeah, he come out beforehand, because we were in the ground about, it must have been about 4 hours before the kick-off, like, which was good at first, but then it got a bit, you know. But he come out about an hour and a half before, and you seen him looking up at it, and he obviously didn't know it was going to be there. But then Joe was taken down to meet him after the game as well.
Yeah. Obviously, you mentioned before Napoli. How many? Obviously, you went to Napoli when we played in the UEFA Cup. I'm sure you got a few tales about that night.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. We'd been out. We stayed out after the Inter Spurs game, because the train was, I think it was 5-6 o'clock in the morning, so we stayed out all night. Didn't have a hotel in that way, and I just wanted to get on that train for a kip. I think it was 7-8 hour journey down there, which normally I would have loved that, you know what I mean, going through Rome and everything like that, but I was just that tired. But on the way down, obviously we're getting a text, you know, watch yourselves. But when we got off, I think we were just that tired, just wanted to get to our hotel. But then through the afternoon we're getting more texts, someone's been stabbed and that, whatever like that. We were sat in the hotel bar, and two lads walked in, and I'm like that, looking at them, and they're looking at us, and we had a bit of a next 40 minutes just looking at each other like that. And I went to the bar and I heard one of them talking. I think they were from Breck Road. You know what I mean? And I was like, I thought you were looking at us. We thought you were looking at us. Like, you know what I mean? So we just jumped a taxi to the ground, got dropped off outside. We walked in. We weren't on the coaches or nothing like that. We were politely asked if we wanted to have a bit of a kerfuffle, but all very polite. Like, we declined and made our way into the stadium. Like, you know what I mean? It was. Very civilised.
How many Italian grounds have you been to?
I've been to the Roma 2 times. We played them the UEFA Cup them 2 years. Napoli. I didn't get to Fiorentina. I got as far as Salerno that day, and the ferry was cancelled. What else we played? Yeah, Juventus, that was a good one as well. Yeah, so I always I'd try and go over there, especially like for the Italian games.
Right, Adam, anything to add on that?
Just that he probably never missed nothing at Fiorentina because it was a pile of shite.
Sound. If anyone has any questions, we just posted a picture of the Rafa banner on Twitter for us, please.
If anyone's on Twitter,
oh, sorry.
Chris Hudson has just posted a picture of the Rafa banner.
Oh, right, that didn't make no sense, that shift, did it? Right. Also, while we're on the thing of questions, if anyone's got any questions you want to tweet into the lads, just do it on the normal at Anfield FM or on Read All Over the Land, and we will get them out to them. Speaking of that, Docker did give us one earlier. Let me just find it, 2 secs. Not very organised here today, sorry.
Should have this prepared, Steve. Come on, you're the host.
Well, you know, it's wonders of the internet, isn't it? Just have to bear with us.
So Fiorentina, Adam, was a bit dull, was it?
Yeah, I've been over to quite a few of the Italian ones myself. Never went to Napoli, had the flights booked and shit myself basically. Didn't go, thought I'll save myself, but Fiorentina was dull, to be honest. Went over there, picture ended up with me and one of my mates on the back pages of the Echo, and basically our face said it all about the trip. It was depressing to say the least, and the biggest thing that always sticks in my mind after it was a terrible result, but none of the players were interested in thanking the fans for being there. They were straight down the tunnel, and that's one of the things I hate about going to a match, when you spent all your money getting there for not going the greatest, the glamorous of ties, and then the players can't even acknowledge the fans. It's something that gets to me a lot, to be honest.
I have just found that question. I do apologise, boys. Docker has said, is the Italian football as bent as the lower league footballs when you look at what happened to like Ronnie Moore today, yesterday, sorry.
More so, without doubt. Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a corrupt society, so it runs from nothing would surprise me there. Things are going. There's no getting away from it. You know what I mean?
But did you actually, like the FA or whatever, did they actually know about it? Or did they turn a blind eye?
Yeah, at the start, there's been many scandals, like, hasn't there, over the past few years, but there's still stuff going on all the time. Some of it defies belief. I remember watching it. There was a game a couple of seasons ago, and lower league team, but some player scored, and obviously he was the only one that wasn't in the loop, because the rest of the team, when he ran away to celebrate, he had his hands on his head, and lo and behold, 5 minutes later they scored their own goal, didn't he? So obviously he wasn't told that they weren't winning that game. So it's comical, but it all happens. Like, it's not a. So
why have you still got your interest in it then, if you know it's as corrupt as it is? Just something that's been part of your life type.
Yeah, it's not like I'm hanging on results for teams. So I like watching it. It's not like I'm hanging on results for for teams and that. Like, I just always watched it and always will, probably.
It's the culture as well about it, isn't it? The ends and stuff like that. You see.
Yeah, so more the fans possibly was the start.
The fans over there.
So I always remember one thing I remember about Italian footy was when Maldini retired. There was a banner in the Inter end and it said, "To Maldini, you're a cunt, love Inter."
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? I thought that's brilliant, that, because it said everything. You know, they hated him, but they respect him for what he'd done and what he's achieved.
But at the same time as well, I know Milan had a massive display plan for him. Would have been his last game and that, like, and in the midweek he come out and criticised the ultras. He called them peasants, so they all turned on him. So whatever they had planned, the things he had planned for him, when he come towards him at the end, he threw it back at him, and he had a big banner for Franco Baresi, who he saw as the proper captain. So after all that time, he like criticised him midweek, and that was it to be taken.
There has a question just come in. What the Inter and Lazio fans think of the whole Heysel issue?
Try not to. It doesn't really get brought up that much, to be honest. It's a bit of an awkward thing. You know what I mean? I've got a couple of friends who are Juventus fans. They're not ultras, and it's never ever been mentioned. So coming from this end of it, I wouldn't bring it up. I wouldn't go out my way to mention it. That
was one of the Fiorentina fans liked to highlight, wearing it with the flag at the end. A lot of Liverpool fans thought it was to do with Istanbul when you come on the pitch with a big banner, thinking something along the lines of your story for us as legend.
There was no two ways about it.
It was about that, and a lot of Liverpool fans were clapping them over, thinking it was to do with Istanbul. But judging from the reaction after the game and speaking to a few of them, it certainly wasn't about Istanbul, and it was aimed at Heysel, which, when you see the reception the Liverpool fans give them, welcome them over to the thing.
I think the difference is there between them is they were passing it off. It was some friendship, because friendship's a big thing in the Italian clubs, with someone between with each other and stuff like that. They decided to pass that off as a friendship, didn't they? Whereas Inter, they weren't offering us any sort of. Where Inter allowed us to do that with the banner, where was our part in there? That was just a basic photo opportunity for them to get on the pitch and do that. There was nothing back for them, was there? If they were genuine about some sort of friendship, there would have been I would have thought there would have been some sort of offer for us to, But it was all about them getting on the pitch, wasn't it? And
it was big publicity.
It was a bit snarl.
And the club nearly fell for it, didn't he?
Would have been a thing, go. Well, obviously, thanks for that, Ian. It was a bit insightful to a different sort of style, really. Right, moving on to the tricky dads. We'll start off with Arsenal at home in the league. 5-1. It was an absolute demolition job. If it would have ended 8-1, I don't think it would have flattered them in the slightest, really. From the first 5 minutes, it all started with Coutinho, didn't it? He started the ball rolling, pressing the game forward, got us on the front foot, and from there, really, we were 4-0 up after 20 minutes. I
don't think there'd be many Liverpool fans that I disagree with. It's probably the best first half performance I've seen in my generation anyway, and even going back to 70s and 80s, I can't see there being many performances that'd stick out as good as that in the first half. I thought we sort of took our foot off the gas in the second half, but even still, throughout the 90 minutes it was a good solid performance. But that first half was unbelievable. People looking at each other in the Kop with just gobsmacked faces, and you didn't know what to make of it. And as you said, it could have been any score coming to the end of it. It wouldn't have surprised it if it would have went into double figures. Liverpool just brilliant. But as well as the Arsenal results, I think you look at before it as well, the Everton game, it was exactly the same. I think over the past couple of months, Liverpool are starting to get a real tempo about them, where the pushing game's really coming into it. We passed it around so far throughout the season and scored a couple of goals, but I think at times the pressing of the team's dipped. But the last couple of weeks, it's been faultless. I know the result at the weekend wasn't to everyone's taste, but the performance for me was a very good performance again. You can't knock it.
No, I think the whole thing, like the Arsenal home game, was, I just think, going into it, I think we were confident we were going to win, but it was just the way we won. We took it to them. Arsenal, what we done to Arsenal was pretty much what they done to us at their place. The midfield was immense. Gerrard's growing into this defensive role or whatever, quarterback or whatever you want to call it. And I openly questioned him when he got the job, because I didn't think he was not quick to do it, but he was that quick to try and win the ball back. He just left gaping holes and left it exposed. But that Arsenal game, and maybe even the derby before it, that's when he grew into it.
It was one of them games. It's a mad thing to say, but if we scored too early, and then we got the seconds, well, obviously not. And then you come out second half, and you're almost disappointed that it was only 5, weren't you? You know what I mean? And it was a ridiculous thing to say, but it was. You're going to struggle to see games like that again, aren't you? You really are.
I would say the only one we come close to is the Real Madrid. Maybe not when we done them 4-0.
In recent times.
That was the only one. Half a bit close to thinking, we're actually looking at the team again. It was brilliant to watch. It was brilliant seeing whether we get another performance like that against towards the end of the season. I hope so. When you think the team that have still got to come to Anfield,
I'd say there's possibly a chance, yeah.
Massive chance, mate. But the older generation always bring up the Forest game, don't they, saying that's one of the best games of football they've seen. But for
Not that old.
for our generation, definitely, I can't think of many better. As you say, it's only the Real Madrid game at home that stands out as a good performance for
The
me.
likes of the Forest game, different scenario. One was expected, wasn't it? Just
Well, not really. Forest were second in the
Yeah,
league, and
but
well, they were a brilliant team.
it wasn't a massive, was it, surprise or not?
No,
like
we
that?
were
As good as
playing
we
at a
were,
much higher level
yeah.
all through
Yeah.
that season. That was a brilliant team, like, and that was a 90-minute performance of just kept the ball for 90 minutes. They never got a kick. It was brilliant.
And obviously, after the Arsenal home game, you're on a few, basically, you're buoyant, aren't you? You know, there was already cries in the back of the copy, we're going to win the league or whatever. You know, then we moved on to Fulham on Wednesday, and I've got to mention Cole Torre. Can someone explain to me what he was trying to do?
No.
Realistically?
No.
No?
That's
Any
just
other
a
answers or
no.
No.
No, sound. Alright, next.
Might be best asking him, mate.
I'm not being...
He's not. You get a player like him, you'd expect him to get roasted down the wing by someone, don't you? Know, you'd expect that, but you're buying him for steadiness, aren't you? Supposedly, you know what I mean? And it's not. It's not there, is it? Like for
No, it's not a question of experience. You know, kids don't do that in the past. You get yourself set, you're on your toes, and you at least stay on your feet. He was falling over and he kicked that ball in. That's just not confidence. That's just embarrassing. That was really, really could have been the worst. That was Jimmy Terry. He asked Burnley, weren't it?
Yeah.
Let's be honest about
I
it.
feel sorry for him though. Torre wasn't brought in to be playing every week, and with the injuries that we've had, for me he's had too many games. He should only be really a cover player once or twice when it's needed, but he's had quite a bit of a run in the team, and obviously at West Brom his mistake there, that'll have knocked his confidence as well. But let's be honest, when the other players are all back fit, he's not going to get anywhere near the first 11.
I'll lose any sympathy for him when he does that ridiculous face he does with the heads on the hand, and that there's no need for that. It's just, you know, you've done it, get on with it.
I'd say, to be fair, though, you know, the experience he's got, he should just put his hand up and say, you know what, boys, sorry, let's move on and get it sorted. Instead he carries on like he's just doing his toys at the pen, doesn't he?
Dwells on it, doesn't he?
You know,
Someone's just dropped his diet pills or something.
you know, but even like, you know, obviously we got back into the game. They were absolute past the season from Gerard Werner.
Yeah.
You know, ridiculous. Your average players just don't do things like that. You know, he didn't even think, he didn't even look, did he? He just knew where he was.
Playing really, really well, isn't he?
You know, it was right now. Obviously, you know, Sturridge has done what he's done pretty much all season, hasn't he? And finished it with a plum. Martin Skirtle, Mignolet, what did he do for the second one? So let's have it, like that 6-yard box, that's to keep his ball every day of the week, isn't it?
Again, sticking under Torre, who knows what he did?
It wasn't sorry, it was Skirtle, man.
No, but sticking farther under Torre, who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the defence, I think they've got a bit of worry about Mignolet. He doesn't seem to command his box, he doesn't seem to have a presence. He's a great shot stopper, but whether the defence have got enough belief in him, I don't know. Even on corners, you notice him, he sticks back, he hangs on his line. He's never...
It's got worse, if anything, on it.
Yeah,
it
has got worse as the season's gone on. No one's going to deny he's a very good shot stopper. He has made the odd mistakes coming at him, but he just doesn't breed confidence. Every time another team gets a corner, I'm worried that they're going to score. You never expect him to come out and claim the ball, or even a good punch, a solid punch far out. He sits back on his line and hopes the defenders do the job.
It's the shot stopper thing. I mean, at the time it was he stopped that many shots in the league that year. Was that because Sunderland were like one of the worst teams and probably had that many shots at them? No doubt he can do it, but it's the minimum you'd expect from a goalkeeper, isn't it?
Especially when you're paying 11 million quid for him, to be fair, do you know what I mean? And when you look at the way we're trying to play football now, I mean, obviously this is going to go on all season, isn't it? You know when Rayner's just gone to Napoli there, you know, Rayner was ultimately had a few dodgy seasons and he was coming back into form. You let him go, and the way we're playing this year with Rayner and goal, I think we'd be the far better side again.
He's had a couple of dodgy games like Rayner, but
on the whole, you'd be more...
He's a more rounded goalkeeper, I think. There's no doubt about it.
Obviously we got back into the game with Coutinho, obviously it was a good goal, but he took a deflection. Then obviously the penalty in the last minute. Why the defenders keep thinking they can tackle through players? It's ridiculous, isn't it?
And they get away on Sunday, didn't they, at Arsenal? So you might have a right to think that they can.
It's not. I mean, you know, professional footballers, you should know better than try and make tackles like that at any stage of a game. it was just, obviously, it benefited us.
Same thing with Torre, he shouldn't be swinging, should he? Percentages, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Well,
You
it
want to do
happens
it, it's
the week
gone
before,
right,
doesn't it? You look at Gerrard in the Arsenal game, we were flying, there was no danger, but I think at times players just want to sort of put a stamp on it, get stuck in. I think with the Fulham game, the point would have been massive for Fulham. He didn't want to risk really getting past him, getting in the box. He wanted to just try and see it out, get stuck in and get on with the game, but Sturridge's movement was brilliant to just get it past them, so it's one of them things, isn't it?
And then obviously, you know,
as long as it's on our side and it's happening in our favour, I'm not bothered, let them do it.
You know, then obviously, you know, he scored the penalty in the last minute, you win 3-2, and ultimately, when you think, coming back from 2 goals down, and obviously wasn't the best performance for the whole season, it's ultimately games like that will win you titles, because it's what United done time and time again. You know, you're getting 3 points from basically a losing position. You know, you take it every day of the week, don't you?
Of course you would, it is. I mean, it's Fulham again the other season, wasn't it? When Ben Ayoun scored. I can't see it happening, but they are, it's right, these are the moments, aren't they? The ones you look back on, and it's only when it happens that you look back on it. Well,
Yeah, as good as the performance like that against Arsenal are, it's a result like that win you the league. That's what makes a great team, when they haven't played at the best but they grind out the results, they end up snatching it. Look how many times United got last minute winners. It's happened, as you said, it's happened for the last 15-20 years, and pains you to say it, but it does. That's what makes a great team, when they grind out them
it's
results.
like when you think about, like, you know, the 08-09 season, it was ultimately with draws what cost us the league. And straight away from that position, you're 2 points better off, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because the draws aren't there. You know, even Everton, to a degree, the draws that they've had this year, you know, they'd be higher the league, wouldn't they? Obviously, Arsenal on Sunday in the Cup, space of a week, it was just a total different feeling about the game, weren't it? I don't think we went out to lose the game, so to speak, and I'm pretty sure Rodgers never had that mentality, but once you go 2-0 down, with 2 sloppy goals, let's be fair, they were poor goals conceded from the Dingo, was he in the right to push on and try and get it, or just take it as it comes and see what happens?
I think the result could, as painful as it is, you want to go out and try and win every game as you can, and you want to be going after silverware, but I think the result could benefit Liverpool in the long term in terms of the league. I think Liverpool did go for the win. I thought we started brilliant, we were right at them, we were the better team, we were controlling the game, we had the chances, we just didn't put them away. I think if Sturridge had put his chances away early on, it could have been the same result as the home game. He could have absolutely battered them.
Definitely.
We started on top, absolutely superb. Arsenal worked their way back into the game, but I think even in the second half, Arsenal scored early on, but I thought we controlled the game. We were the better team, we had a lot more possession. I know possession doesn't count for much, but we had a lot more shots as well. I thought Liverpool played well. They were very unlucky to go out. I heard Rodgers saying they were unlucky not to get at least a draw, and you've got to agree with that. A draw was the very least Liverpool deserved. We were the better team in the game. We definitely deserved to win, I thought.
100%, you know, and you know, ultimately the form our strikers have been in all season, the chance they created themselves, especially the one with Sturridge when he went through after we just got the goal back, he'd have finished that all season pretty fair, weren't he? And you know, and ultimately when he's seen him at the end of the game, I think he took the whole brunt of the loss on his shoulders. He was absolutely distraught, weren't he?
You can't fault them though, can you? These are the games when you want someone else to be popping up with one, don't you? You can't really say anything about your strikers, can you? You know, they've done that much this year.
But as I say, I think that just goes to show how much it's actually been to Daniel Sturridge this year. Because, you know, I'll be honest, I never thought I'd see him do that in a Liverpool shirt, and you know, he's been an absolute superstar, hasn't he? From the moment he's walked through the door, to be fair to the kid.
Far better player than I thought he was, yeah.
100%. But he, like, you know, his attitude was questionable and all that of the clubs. I just think he actually found the place where he wants to be. And, you know, when ultimately Liverpool as a club, they're reaping the rewards of that. Obviously, Mr. Webb gave us one penalty, which ultimately was soft, weren't it, in the grand scheme of things when you compare to the second one that he never give. You know, let's have it right. I mean, people keep bringing up the South Yorkshire thing or whatever else, and I personally don't think that comes into it. I just don't think he's as good around and makes out. You know, he believes the media hype. He got a World Cup final, he got a Champions League Cup final. You know, he's your A any, isn't he? Might as well just turn up on a motorbike and sign autographs at the same time and be done with it. He's just awful referee. You know, the Suarez penalty at Chelsea as well. You know, there's no conspiracy. He's just shite.
I don't know, you know, I think it happens that many times to Liverpool while he's in charge. I think you've got to start wondering if there's an agenda. It always, you know it when you look at Everton with Clattenburg, they all kicked up a fuss about him. He never reffed them for about 5 years on the bounce. Nothing got said about it. It always seems to be when Liverpool are going into a game, when Webb's refereeing it, Liverpool fans are worried about what's going to happen. It's preempted before the game, I think. I honestly do. I know a lot of people will disagree with me and say, no, there isn't an agenda, it's just Liverpool fans moaning, trying to find something to moan. You went out, you should have put your chances away. But at the end of the day, it's a penalty, regardless of whether we should have put our chances away. It's a penalty. Gerrard, the form he's been in with penalties, you'd expect him to put it away. We're right back in the game and we were flying at that time. I'd expected us to go on and win it. And it's not even like where you could say it's dubious. He was right in front of it. It was a stonewall penalty and there was no excuse for him not to give it.
There was, because he's already given one. He would not give us 2 penalties in the game.
That close.
No chance.
They do that though, don't he? But there's no reason why. It's like if it was in the first minute, would they give it? They let things go in the first minute, don't they? The 7 minutes in they give, it's just, it defies logic. But
you know, I mean, you know, John Alder's just been on the radio and whatever else today and saying Liverpool should come out and say that they don't want to referee in every games again. You know, Ray Alton, there was something I read on Twitter with Ray Alton saying exactly a similar sort of thing. You know, is it not petty, but are you just picking the straws to say that you're picking and choosing referees? The FA love him, the UEFA love him, because they think he's this big almighty, you know, referee who can handle any situation thrown at him, and he just can't.
Possibly wouldn't help you, would it, if you were to do that, you know?
Well, the FA,
but then you say, like you said, Everton, it's on that.
It happened with Everton and Clattenburg, but the FA have got to shoulder some responsibility as well, because the FA are always moaning about consistency in referees. He clearly made a mistake. Everyone's universal and agreeing he made a mistake. Why hasn't he been demoted? He's still refereeing this weekend in the Prem. I think the Cardiff game. He should be down in the lower leagues. The FA should come out and say, you made a mistake. There's no accountability for anything. Referees, no matter who it is, whether it's Webb or another ref, they never come out and hold their hands up and say, I made a mistake. The FA are never coming out and saying, he made a mistake this weekend, he's going to get dropped. If you're making that many mistakes in your own line of work, you'd all be on your arse with your P45 getting another job.
Is he just cracking on it wasn't a penalty?
But
rather than...
I'm saying you can crack on all you want, but when you look at the pictures, I mean, you know, the first pictures come through when you're on a coach coming home and whatever else, they can't defend that decision. You know, the Chelsea one, Mourinho dug him out the hole by talking about how great the Premiership was and just totally diffused the situation before he even got off the ground. You know, they can't keep on letting him get away with it. You know, and ultimately it's got to stop. But I don't think they got the bollocks to do it, to be fair to them. I really don't. It's come to the halfway point of the show, and it's time for Bet of the Week from the lads over at Punters Corner. Same as last time, you can give the boys a follow at Punters Corner on Twitter. It follows an Italian team this week in the Europa League. It's Napoli at Swansea. Swansea obviously just changed manager, struggling for a bit of form. You can get 6-4 on Napoli to win the game. You know, Uncle Rafa is still in charge at Napoli. I think it's a massive place. If anyone's got a few spare quid, it wouldn't go amiss by going on Napoli at 6-4 to win at Swansea on Thursday night. Just a little bit of Spirit of Shankly talk. Obviously before the Arsenal away game, the Union got the brilliant result of £35 for the tickets. Before the game, the Union were tweeting that everyone in that away end should be an SOS member for the sake of a tenner. Then you saved 35 quid plus on your ticket. Potentially could have been 92 quid. On Twitter it didn't go down very well because it sounded like you were begging for money as the usual stuff. Ultimately, if it wasn't for the Union, you're paying £92, so what do? You support it and you back it. And look at the Blue Union. Yesterday they put a statement out which identical word for word, which is exactly the same on what we sent to Arsenal and to Liverpool Football Club, saying they wanted £35 tickets. The problem with the Blue Union is they're already Category B teams, so they're asking for Category B places, we're not even going to be playing it. Now, they were saying on Twitter yesterday that their main result is to get the 9,000 tickets, and I'll be interested to see if they get that, where the excuses Arsenal gave to us, saying why the reasons we couldn't have it. So I'm waiting to see that decision, to be fair, because if they do get it, I think the union will go full throw at the authorities at Arsenal and say it's basically a little shite, really, isn't it? Anything to add on that, boys?
I understand with it, the union, if it did happen, they've got every right to go and moan at them, but I think as football fans in general, you've got to be open towards, I think that Everton fans should be getting the full 9,000. That's what they're entitled to, that's what we should have got. And I think the more people who start putting pressure on clubs, I know the Blue Union copied with the statement from SOS, but again, it's another club who are putting pressure on teams, and the more clubs that can put pressure on teams to say we're not happy with ticket prices, we're not happy with you trying to have us off all the time, the more that do it, the better. It can only be a good thing for football fans in general.
Yeah, 100%, and you're not wrong with saying that, but from an SOS perspective, I don't think a little phone call would have gone amiss and say, look, well, do you mind if we do it instead of just basically, but ultimately getting copied is going to be the biggest compliment to SOS we can have.
The SOS statements in conjunction with Arsenal, the Black Scarf thing, and Tottenham as well.
But that was later on. The actual initial statement about the ticket prices.
But they still got involved, didn't
yeah.
Would you not have been better joining forces then? With then it's 4 teams, isn't it? And it could keep going. It could keep, you know what I mean? Instead of trying to,
I think
at least write your own letter.
It all goes back to the summer as well, like last year over the ticket pricing protests. SOS were at the forefront of everything. They were really pushing it, and Everton were coming up with all these ideas saying do this, do that. They were turning up at meetings. When push comes to shove, they shit themselves. They never pushed it. They didn't have enough backing them. But if they can start getting things out to say, look, backers, look what SOS have done there. They've reduced ticket prices, and even if the more Evertonians get behind the Blue Union and start pushing them, it can only be a good thing. The more fans that back the likes of Blue Union, Spirit Shankly, whether it's Arsenal's Black Scarf movement, Tottenham Supporters Trust, the more that keep backing these initiatives, these trusts and that, the better it's going to be for everyone at the end of the day.
That's a very valid point, Adam. Just the last little bit on SOS. Yesterday the union were shortlisted and basically been put forward to win a co-op Northwest Organisation of the Year. Basically it means everyone who's paid in to be a member of SOS, it's obviously Spirit Shankly is a member organisation. The work the union have done basically over the past 5.5 years now has been recognised on a very, very high level. There's a big do in Blackpool that hopefully the union will come out on top. I can't really begin to say how big this will be on a whole national level because it's a national award, not Northwest Co-op Members Award is a big deal basically, and I can't go into too much detail because Fairlawn Jay know more about it than what I do, but I just think it needs addressing because it's a big achievement to even be shortlisted, to be fair. It's on the 14th of March in Blackpool, the award, so I'm sure we'll have some good news hopefully at the end of the night. Right, obviously after the games the week before last, are we realistically in a title charge?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I do. And I don't think going out the cup, I mean, I'm not one of them, always like the cup, and I'm not one of them that ever says, but I think it won't do us any harm going out of it. I don't think it will happen, but put it this way, when you were playing Olympiacos and someone said you win the European Cup, or now you win the league, what's the what would you see as the more madder statement? Yeah. I don't think it will happen, but
stranger things
exactly.
I think it's actually read it on forum, I'm not sure how gospel this is, but if we win every game now till the end of the season with the games other teams we've got to play and the teams left on Anfield, we are champions. I think we win by 2 points or something, obviously depending on other results and that along the way, but obviously winning all them games, obviously we've got United away, City at home, Arsenal at home, Tottenham at home, it's Southampton away. That's the one for me. If we get maximum points on there, I'll begin to have a little twinge and
United
start thinking.
United away worries me.
I think you can't look too far forward though, because we done this the other week, didn't we? And then went to West Brom and slipped points. You've got to just look at Swansea, look at that, win that, and then just take one game at a time. The first show that we done a few weeks back, we spoke about it then, and at the time, I think it was before the Villa game, and you asked then, do you think we have a chance at winning the league? I said heart says first, head says, I think I said third, to be honest. But if I'm looking at it now, I still don't think we'll win it, but we've got to go for it, we've got to push for it. The higher you aim, the better. If you aim for fourth and you drop short, as I said, you're knackered. If you aim for the top and drop short, you're finishing in a Champions League spot. So you just got to go for every game and treat it like there's nothing to lose. There's 12 games, just treat everyone like a cup final and just go for it. We're not in any more competitions, it's only that to aim for, so why not?
As I say, I don't think it's a question of realistically not going for it, but with the teams that are playing each other every week from now to the end of the season, they're all dropping points. So as I say, we win all our games.
We've got the momentum.
I'd say some
Probably us in Tottenham have got the momentum, because
definitely. To be fair, what Tottenham was one of me. Tottenham were one of my points further down the line. To be fair, the start of the season they had pretty much everyone ripped them off, and you look at them now, they're only a point behind. When they've won what was it, 5 out of 6 since Sherwood took over. They've only lost one. It was City at home, isn't it?
It's only a point, is it?
Yeah, they're only a point behind, aren't they? Spurs.
Don't know. I'll be honest, I haven't seen the league table. I thought they were a bit further behind, and I thought it was 3.
The executive producer Paul is just going to drag that up for us now. But it's hard to believe that in 18 months of Brendan Rodgers have taken over from the form of playing to where we are now, and realistically they win our games, we are champions. It's scary to think how much of a transformation the team's had. Obviously a lot of this depends on people staying fit, especially our strikers, but when you look at the players what we've got coming back as well, the defence obviously isn't going to be the same for when Johnson's back in training, Sakho's back in training. I don't know what's up with Enrique, who fell off the face of the earth, I think, hasn't he? But when you get Johnson back in, Flagging goes back over to the left back, and he actually looks a better left back than what he does right back, to be fair to the lad. It's there. There is a big chance.
I like to think what people would class as the bigger achievements. I know probably a lot of people listening are big fans of Rafa, but what would people consider the biggest achievement? Rafa in his first season getting the European Cup, or if Rodgers can get the league this season? Bear in mind that there was a lot of players in Benitez's squad that weren't up to much, and you look at the squad now, I think the forward line's a lot better. It's great, but I think overall as a team, is it stronger than the team Benitez had? It's debatable. I'd like to see what people think the bigger.
I'd say no, but the way we're playing,
I think it'd be a bigger achievement if we won the league this season.
Yeah, it's very.
But would Rodgers get the same amount of credit as Benitez?
No, I don't think he would. No, I don't think he would. No. He's made me humble pie. You know what I mean? But he wouldn't. No, you're right. He wouldn't.
I think it's time that a lot more people are turning towards Rodgers and getting on his side. But I think if the fan base had the same belief that we did when Benitez was there, and the way it was just like a tidal wave of just everyone behind him, and
the ground on Sunday should be bouncing.
Yeah.
It won't be. No, but it should be. You know what I mean? How many home games left?
7.
You'd like to think you could win every home game, if nothing else, with the backing of the crowd, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Just to point out, Spurs are 3 points behind us. Not 1, and plus goal difference as well. Mr. Suarez, we have to talk about him again. He's looking a bit leggy at the minute, isn't he? Yeah, he is looking tired, isn't he? Was Arsenal opportunity to rest him? Because he's playing out from the wing at the minute. We're not getting that initial spark from him. But the volley at home against Arsenal, I think if that would have done, I think we had would have blew off, because it was ridiculous. Where he's just when he's on song, he's ultimately one of the best players in the world, and even when he's not on song, he is. But he does look a bit leggy at the minute.
He was going to have a dip, wasn't he? If nothing else, just in the goals. But say, should he arrested at Arsenal? Well, then you wouldn't have played him at Bournemouth, would you?
No, I don't even think it's been that much of a dip in form.
No,
it's just a dip in goals.
But he's been that good that any dip is.
Yeah, that's it. You'd only need a slight little thing for Suarez, and it's considered a dip. If you look at his performances over the past month or so, where he hasn't been as good as he's been, but if you look at them performances, he's still as good as anyone in the league. He's a different class. He really is. He's brilliant.
I've just had a bit of interaction to do on the Twitter feed from Mr. Fatties. He gave Brendan Rodgers a badge at the start of the season, which he wears for every home game. That John would like to point this out. I'm going to check that, to be fair, because I don't think it's true. But we're going to find out.
Anfield FM can confirm it's true. We gave him a Aiton Fatties badge.
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. Was that?
Oh, he wears it every week, but he's definitely got an Aiton Fatties badge.
Well, there you go. That's for you, John. Well, and Paul. A few other things. I'll talk about 1906 now. Displays towards the end of the season. Obviously, the 25th anniversary of Hillsborough is up in April. I'm pretty sure the boys have got something planned. I don't expect details, but can you just let us know what's happening?
We haven't finalised details, to be honest. We are definitely going to be doing something about it. There's more money now that's coming in the pot, and obviously the more that keeps on coming in, the better thing we can do. And obviously, with it being the 25th anniversary, it's something that every Liverpool fan holds close to their heart. So a big, really good display that'll be put up. It'll be lovely to see, and we are going to do our best to get something out there that'll hopefully make everyone look at and be proud of.
I think it was the Arsenal game, weren't it? Obviously the week before there was all the stuff on Height Court and Duckenfield getting away with it again. Should have banned it in the lower centenary, didn't you? Duckenfield, how do you sleep at night? And from myself and Perth, I would just like to thank us, because I think it was very, very well timed and in the perfect location where the lads everyone could see it.
Yeah, the location was decided the night before. We were thinking whether to put it in the Cop or in the Kemlin, and the idea behind putting it in there was hopefully when the cameras went across the line up on the team, that hopefully it had got spotted on the cameras. I think the TV crews made a little dodge of it, to be honest, because they don't really want to be showing that on telly, broadcasting it, but a lot of pictures got took of it and got put around Twitter. So the more it gets put around social media, it's good to see that it's still a focus, and no matter what they think's happening over it, where things go quiet, it still needs to be pointed out that he's not going to get away with it, the rest of them aren't going to get away with it, and we're still thinking of them.
And encourage people to do their own as well, to take it off their own path and do it themselves as well. It can be done. It gets a point across.
Definitely. I think David Conn actually was one of the first ones to tweet it right before kick-off, and obviously, you know, he's done a lot for the cause over the years, but it was a big thing for him to actually point it out, because ultimately when other journalists are quoting it, they're putting the jobs on the line ultimately.
Yeah.
Well, merchandise, we've got some new stuff going to mix shop soon, rather than later.
First I'm aware of.
Yeah.
I've been kept out of the loop on that one, if it's the case. The badges are still there, and the t-shirts, we've got a few more new sizes in.
There's some new stickers, I believe, on the way, some new designs.
There's new designs of stickers. Yeah, the new stickers are going out. Been getting pictures of stickers from all over, in football grounds all over the world, in famous landmarks, and it's good to see that people are picking up on it and getting it, because ultimately the more money that gets put into it, we'll put everything back into the flags, and the bigger and better displays we can do. I think Arsenal at home and the derby were fantastic, to be honest. The amount of flags that were on the Kop, it was like a big European night, and the more that we can get in and keep on making them, keep on doing them, hopefully it'll push the team on, seeing the way the Kop is and seeing everyone behind them, and hopefully it might push us on to getting the league. You never know.
You never know, indeed. Stranger things have happened. Just a few last little bits on the Reds. Who's been the player of the season so far, boys?
Let you go first on that.
The obvious one, Suarez.
Yeah.
I mean, he's that's what I mean. It is the obvious one, but he's that good. You can't
look anywhere else, really, can you? I think that ain't the Golden Sambas, or he painted his name on it.
Like you said, if that goal got in, that would have been it, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
that shot.
I think we would have exploded realistically at that time, because it was ridiculous. I'd just like to put on Raheem Sterling as one of my personal picks this year. I writ him off. I'll be brutally honest. I thought his career had come to an end at Liverpool, just because I thought he was too big for his boots. You know, and also Rudd just dragging him off the side the way he did, the way he's handled him, the way he's coming back this year. Ultimately, the way all defenders are picking up Suarez and Sturridge, he's benefiting because he's getting all the space to make us tick. I mean, even on Arsenal, into right back, he's still the best player on the pitch.
Like you said, when he was out the team, you wondered, didn't you? But it's done the world a good life, hasn't it?
You know, and I do think that's where Rodgers' actual nous of dealing with younger players from his previous jobs has really helped them develop that.
I had an argument a couple of months back, and I'm sure the fellas off Fred all over the land for him, and I'm sort of giving Sterling a bit of grief, and he turned around and started having a go at me. He asked me my reasons why I didn't like him, and it wasn't to do with ability, it was to do with, to be honest, it was to do with like his effort, and I just felt he's always had the ability about him, but he never seemed to me to put enough effort into it. He didn't seem to want it enough, he didn't have the determination about him. And I think it was the next home game after I had the argument with the fella, and he won a tackle at right back, and the roar from the cop, it was like it celebrated the goal. They were made up to see him getting stuck in, and I think from then he's just come on leaps and bounds. He really seems to want to fight and get his points across. He's working so hard when he's got the ball, when he hasn't got the ball, and I've got to eat my words. I've got to hold my hat off to him and just say he's been fantastic, and he's definitely for me the young player. And you think the way he's worked now, he's got to be nailed on to be getting on the World Cup squad for me. I'm not the biggest fan of England, but to me he's got to be going to the World Cup. If you look at it, he's the best winger in the league on form for me.
To be fair, you just one of me points out is he shooting for the World Cup. I think last week I think he was something like 11-1 to make the squad. Well, sorry, last month I think he's down like 5-1 or something ridiculous like that now. You know,
He's on now, isn't he?
It's just, you know, I think, not say he's had a point to prove, but obviously, you know, there's always his personal issues, what people talked about and whatever else. But he's actually just got his head down. He's actually looking at playing now, and when we're in the side, barring this, I don't think he's got a great final ball, but we are a massive threat when he's in that side. Another young player who's performing out of skin in it is John Flanagan. Since the derby, Goodison, he's been, ultimately, before his injury, weren't he? He was outstanding, weren't he?
Same situation again, wasn't he? He was off the team and he wondered, was that it again? Was it just a brief thing and gone? But now he's come back, looking better.
I think Rodgers has got to be praised for that, hasn't he? The chance that he's given to the younger lads, he's doing really well with it. And I think now, for me, I'd start Flanagan at right back. If Johnson comes back into the team and he's fit, I've got more faith in Flanagan's performance, to be honest, than what I have in Johnson.
I'm dropping him now after the way he's played.
As we mentioned before, his positional sense is far better on the left than what it is on the right. Because even like going forward, because he cuts in that much on the right, he's cutting in from the left, his goal of Spurs. He's under the wing, he doesn't do that. You know, and that's just a little example of it.
Another Howard Webb decision there on it. Everything was booked except that one on him. So if that wasn't a booking.
No, the Podolski challenge.
But as I say, I just think as a whole, to say, you know, he's come on 100% this last 6 months.
It's nice just to have another local heartbeat coming into the team as well. Obviously with Carragher going out last year, you just got Gerrard there on your own now, so you really need someone else who's young and local pushing through, coming through. It's nice to see. Yeah,
definitely, 100%. Even like Martin Kelly, when you think of when he broke in the side, he actually took the top prospect, didn't he? Then, you know, he done his hamstring at West Ham, and ultimately he's had a couple more bad knocks since then. I mean, he come on the League Cup at Old Trafford, and he didn't look like he was Premiership quality, did he, to be fair to him. Whether he's going to bounce that back. But just a few little things on the loan signings. Suso, anyone know anything about him, how he's getting on?
I think he's leading assist, isn't he, in the Liga? He was last time I checked anyway. I'm sure someone will pull me up on Twitter or something and come out with that he's not. But I think the last time that I checked, he had the most assists in the Liga, which is an achievement considering the team that he's playing for and obviously the players that are in that league.
I think also when he comes back, and you know, even like he brought like there to scare on at Fulham, I think Suso should be licking his lips to get him back in the side, because you know, obviously Coutinho has the performance that season. If you bring Suso in, I don't think we'd be far off again pushing that through. Andre Wisdom, what's the Derby County QPR game the other week? thought the kid was brilliant, to be fair to him. He looked a real strong in the tackle, composed on the ball. The playing week in, week out is actually doing him the world of good. Whether he's going to be the long-term answer, but when you look at we've been struggling, if he was still around, I think we would have been a bit of a better position. I think he's impressing at the minute, to be fair to him.
It's a positive thing, isn't it, when you've got players out on loan and they're all performing, they're doing well. You've got to look, I think Connor Cody the other night, he scored again, didn't he, for Sheffield United. So whether Cody will come back and get his chance at Liverpool, you don't know, but it's good to see that our players are out there and they're performing elsewhere.
We've just had a thing through on Twitter off for him, Sean at the Hood and Claw. If anyone's got the name Anfield FM or the Spying Cop 1906 or myself on the Twitter, if you have a look at the picture, it's absolutely hysterical, to be fair to him. Well then, mate, thanks for that. Just retweeted it there. On Anfield FM later on this evening at 7:30 is the new Tomo show called Roxy Music. Tomo is a bit of a loon, but he's a massive music fan, and his show is always worth a good listen. Also, the next Noise from the Boys on, Paul?
Every Friday 8 o'clock live.
Noise from the Boys actually, it's like a comedy show. It's absolutely hysterical, isn't it? They're a good crack of lads, and it's always worth a listen. And then Wank of the Week's always a positive.
Cavity's Call My Bluff. So only tells a few lies, and you've got to decide whether they're sweet or lies.
Just one of my future shows, we'll have a fella called Mark on. He's got motor neurone disease. He was a professional footballer and he got this bad illness. I'm going to try and have a chat with him in 2 weeks' time. It's not a nice story to hear, but what he's doing beyond that charity work and whatever else, he's an absolute gent, and I'll have him on in 2 weeks. We're going to cut it short today, boys, because I know you just both come from work and I appreciate that. That was the Flagpole Corner. I'm Steve Martin. I'd like to thank Ian and Adam for coming on, Lorraine at the Sandon for having us again, and we will see you soon.
Nice one.
Cheers.